Hey guys, Shayna here. I just wanted to tell you I'm so psyched about this episode of the Content Coalition with Brad Martineau of 6th Division. I mean, I nerded out so hard that it's a super long episode because Sarah had to cut me off because I was learning so much. First of all, while the whole episode is stellar, please watch or listen to the whole thing. There are 3 points that really stood out to me that I just wanted to let you know about in advance. So at about 10 minutes, it's gonna be about 10 minutes after the length of this video, but at about 10 minutes, he talks about like the framework of what we're gonna talk about. It's how his brain works, and he breaks down like the framework of what content looks like in every stage of the client journey. At about 20 minutes, he starts talking about courses. So he talks about the difference between the experience people have in courses and the actual content. And there's a big difference, and they both are very, very important. And then at about 30 minutes, so weird, 10, 10, 10, he probably did that on purpose. At about 30 minutes, he starts talking about taking your existing contacts and re-engaging with them, and that they are a huge source of gold for you as a business, and best practices on how to re-engage, how to get more sales out of your existing contacts. It was such a great episode, and everything seemed so obvious after he said it, and I love that. Highly implementable, and you're gonna love it. So enjoy, and I'm excited that you guys are gonna learn so much, because my head was like,
I'm Shayna. I love dogs, I trip a lot, and I happen to have a knack for making pretty sweet videos for businesses. But the more videos we made, the more questions I got about how video and other content can be leveraged to make a bigger impact in their marketing. 44% of marketers say that producing content is their biggest challenge, yet content marketing is 62% less expensive than outbound and produces 3 times more leads. Now, I know a lot, but I certainly don't know it all, so I made it my mission to talk with content kings, queens, and bosses to learn as much as I could about crushing content marketing, and I'm taking you along with me. Welcome to the Content Coalition.
awesome. We are in Gilbert, Arizona with Brad Martineau of 6th Division. They are one of Infusionsoft's top automation agencies. Tell me a little bit about what you guys do, kind of high level, because I really want to dive into the whole, we kind of created this game plan. I'm really excited to dive into it prior to the cameras rolling. So
we work with entrepreneurs and small businesses, and what we found is most entrepreneurs love the idea of having a predictable, systematic, automatic, and then therefore ultimately scalable business. Something they can count on, and they know how it's going to run, how it's going to work. The answer to how you go do that is through automation. And so ultimately what we do is we help people build automatic client journeys. So every step that happens after you capture a lead, all the way through until they've paid you money, they want to continue to pay you money, they're shouting your name from the rooftops. We help people come in and design what will it take, and what's the best client journey, the best experience that we can deliver. And then we go grab all the tools that you need to put it together and just say, all right, we'll go build it for you. It's kind of like we got this Lego set in the background. It's like, what do we want to build? And then we go build it for you.
Right on.
So that your life is systematic and it's organized, you know what's happening, you have visibility into what's going on, all that sorts of stuff.
And that's the goal. To get automated is the goal for everybody. But to get there is, to me, my brain melts a little bit just thinking of all the pieces you have to put together in the Lego block.
Yeah, well,
make it work,
and there's one nuance I think is important to catch out, because the goal is actually not to be automated, the goal is to be automatic.
Okay.
And there's a difference, and it's a subtle nuance, but it makes all the difference in the world. So if you think about it, automated only applies to things that you can have a computer do.
Right.
But most businesses, in some capacity, you have to interact with humans. So there's a human element, and there are steps in that client journey that will happen that a human has to do. So really what we want it to be automatic.
Okay.
Meaning I want the business to run the same way every single time. I want the experience to be predictable. We'll use automation in 2 ways. One, to actually go send the emails or send the videos or whatever, whenever I can just tell the computer to send it. But then separately, I also want to use automation to make it, to remind people to go do what they're supposed to do, so that as an owner, I can be like, hey, this is what I want to have happen. These steps. Step 1, computer can do. Step 2, a human's got to do. I need to go remind them, and if they don't, I want it to tell me so I can tell them, so that I know that it's automatic. So automatic just means same thing happens every single time. Automated is how I get to that, but really what people want is they want an automatic business at the end of the day.
Yeah, right on. Okay, so let's start from how you got into 6th Division. You were employee number 6 at Infusionsoft, yes?
Yep, so I was employee number 6 at Infusionsoft. For anyone that doesn't know what Infusionsoft is, it's the tool that started this whole thing called marketing automation for small businesses, and there are others that have come out. I swear they come out every Monday at 11:37
Sure,
or something.
Right.
But I was a 6th employee there. I was there for about 6 or 7 years. We went from 6 employees to about 150. And then I broke off and started 6th Division, and I think right now they're at 900 employees or something.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So, yeah,
and now they're Keep, right?
So now it's Keep, and
yeah.
so Keep with 2 products. They have Keep and then Infusionsoft by Keep. But yeah, same thing, new label, cool story behind it, but yeah, same thing.
Right on. So what made you branch off to do your own thing?
So there's like a two-part answer to that question. The first part answer is they had hit a couple of months where they had like financial rough spot, and proactively they laid off 10% of the company, and I was in that 10%.
Oh, okay.
I don't know that I would have ever left the company if they hadn't said, here's the door. So I got laid off, and I turned around, and like I had been for 6 years essentially, I'd been like in and around, like every single thing in the app, like in the tool, I had my fingerprints on. I could navigate you through the app literally without being in front of a computer, like I knew it inside and out. So like, well, I guess I'll go help people with this thing because people seem to have troubles with it. And so I sort of fell into it by default because it was the skill set that I had. And then over time, I fell in love with entrepreneurship and the idea of automation. I've always been really, really intrigued at systems. I believe that behind anything you're trying to do, literally anything, there is a framework, and within that framework there are systems. And if you know what the framework is, and you can come up with a system that works, everything can be done with less time, with less energy, and more efficiently. So like for me, from when I was growing up, so I'm the 6th of 10 kids.
Oh my gosh.
And my mom, I have since learned out of pure sanity, is like every Saturday, I don't remember a Saturday or a holiday that I slept in. I swear we're up at 5 o'clock. It might have been 7 because I was younger, but we're up and she's like, you gotta go work for 5 hours in the yard. And my brain's like, no.
Why?
Tell me what you want to get done,
There you
and I'm going to
go.
figure out the best way to get it done, because how you do something for me matters as much as what you do. You can always get more results. Most people could get way better results in their businesses, in their lives, with their families, with way less time, energy, and effort if they would pay attention to the framework and the system. So I fell in love with it, started working with clients, realized, man, I love entrepreneurs too, because they're the ones that go change the world. And so here we are, trying to help people make their businesses automatic so that they can go do things that matter in their life.
Isn't it crazy how like probably when you got laid off, you're like, oh no, what am I gonna do with my life? Like, how is this gonna work? And now, I mean, your first year, they did 7 figures in the first year.
Yeah.
And then consistently thereafter.
Yep.
What would you think the key to that success is?
I think the key is the key is having a problem that people really want solved.
Totally. Yeah.
And then being able to get into find the right water coolers where there are people. And a lot of our immediate success was a perfect combination of there was a problem that was extremely painful and had high benefit. The bigger the problem, the more money you can make. Or the bigger the audience of people that have that problem that you can get to, then the more money you can make. So it was a combination of finding a problem that people really wanted solved, and had the ability to pay to get solved, and then also being relentlessly committed to the experience and the value that you deliver, even if it meant for the first. I mean, we did 7 figures in our first year, and I will tell you, I would not wish our first year on any other poor soul.
Right, with that kind of growth, that must be madness.
Because you grow and you got clients, and it's a services business, and we didn't have like all of our systems dialed into. We didn't have an automatic client journey.
Right.
Like we didn't have that in place.
Like,
so
wait a second.
So we're kind of making it up as we go, and
Yeah.
we're building the systems as we go. And the other part of being relentlessly committed to the client's experience means, what it looks like is we got clients here right now. I got 2 days we're going to do work, but then I got the clients that were in last week that were here for 2 days. Right. That I didn't have a system in place to get all the stuff done that they wanted to get done in the 2 days. So I'm doing their work in the morning and at night, and then I got the clients that were in the week before. So it was, and then I got to go travel because I got to keep clients coming in the door, right?
Right.
So it's crazy. But I would say it's finding a problem that people have that they want to get solved, and they have the economic. Like they want to get solved, and I should change that. It's not that they want to get solved, it's that they are committed to solving and that they are actively spending time, energy, and money trying to solve. Yeah. So having that problem, finding the water coolers of where those people are, and then being ridiculously committed to, like more so than sleep, more so than, you gotta be ridiculously committed to the value you provide so that you can create an army of people that love you and will build your brand. So that, if I were to go try and recreate it again, what I would look for is, okay, where's a brand new opportunity that just came up that people are currently spending time, energy, and money? Bonus points if they're really frustrated. Because when you're frustrated, you'll spend more money to solve a problem.
Get it off my plate,
It means that it's a bigger problem for them.
Yeah.
And then what I would do is I would do the exact same thing. I'd go in and say, okay, I'm going to go find the clients. I'm going to find the water coolers, get in front of them, and then I'm going to be ridiculously committed to creating just a wealth of, holy crap, I went to them and that was awesome. Because then I can take that back into the water coolers of the people that are frustrated, and it's like manna from heaven. There's somebody that knows what's going on, they can tell me what my problem is, and they've got a whole bunch of evidence that they've done it really well. So that's what I would do.
Right on. Oh, so there you go, guys. Whoever's starting their first business, go do it.
Find a problem, Find a problem and be committed to creating just ridiculous outcomes. Find a problem, find the water coolers, and then create ridiculous outcomes for people. It's a really simple cycle.
I have so many more questions with that, but I know we need to swing into content. Like I'm like, oh my gosh, I really want to pick your brain. But we'll go on to the stuff we wanted to talk about, which is content.
Yep.
Okay, so we talk about content a lot on the show. Like that's literally all it's about. But once you create the content, like the initial, like we were talking, the organic, fluffy content that goes out to the world and serves people, like what happens after that is just as important, if not more important, I would hope that you guys think, than what the actual content is. And so what I really want to talk to you about, and what like we'd kind of established, is that can we talk about the client journey and what happens once they've checked the box and given their contact info, and then how that looks moving forward?
And I think, just real quick, I want to zoom back out. It's called Frameworks and Systems, by the way. So my brain's like, framework, what are we talking about here? So here's the framework of how you, like in the realm of the overall client journey, which would include your advertising efforts and all that sort of thing, right? So when we say content, content's a really interesting word. It's sort of ubiquitous and it can apply all the way across. And so what I found is a lot of people in their lives would be greatly served if they got way more discipline in their language. So we say content, but we don't actually know what that means, but we act and operate as if we do know what it means. So I'm going to provide a little bit of a structure for the conversation. So when we say content, there's, so this is my dry erase board that's not here, but you get to pretend with me, okay? All right. So over here are all the things that I do to try and get, this is where I'm trying to find water coolers. And when I say water coolers, I mean just get in front of people.
Right.
So I do all these things over here, like my Facebook ads, and then we have this traditional content marketing, which is more of like an organic play. Like I'm going to do a bunch of videos, I'm going to do a bunch of blog posts, I'm going to do a bunch of Instagram stuff, really, really valuable content. People will tag other people, whatever, and then somehow they'll end up on my system. So that's like this pure content marketing way over here in advertising. What we also have is content in marketing.
Right.
Which is like, no, I'm on Facebook, but I'm spending money to drive people. Like I have a video ad. Okay, well that's content, but it's in marketing. It's not the same as content marketing. And then you've got like, well, I'm going to actually go and get on stage somewhere. Yeah, I'm taking content to get on stage. So we've got all these things that are designed to get people, like to capture a lead. If I'm on stage, I want someone to text in or give me their business card.
Right.
If I'm on Facebook, I want them to go fill out a form on my website. If I'm doing content marketing, maybe I'm trying to get them to follow my Instagram account or follow my Facebook account, and then ultimately get them to go fill out a form. Somehow I've got to capture their information. That's when this idea of an automatic client journey starts. Now I've captured them, and then I've got all my follow-up that I send, and in there I have content, which could look like, what am I sending them? Like, what's the free report that I'm giving them? What's the content? How do I follow up? If they don't respond right away, what do I send? Like, now what do I send? They said they wanted this thing, but they didn't buy after that. Well, now what do I send? I got more content that I've got to figure out. And I know you said you have people that do courses.
Right.
Okay, well, courses is just more content. So there's content spread throughout, but it's really important to look at it. And if you had a dry erase board or a piece of paper, what I would draw is, I'm trying to find eyeballs. I drop them into the client journey and know that content flows throughout all of that.
Right.
And I think what's really important when we talk about content, no matter where we are in that entire process, is recognizing the role that content plays. Content's job is to catch somebody's attention, change their belief and their thinking to get them to take some action. And whether it's a blog post, or it's a video ad on Facebook, or it's a stage presentation, whether it's the free report that you gave, whether it's a sales conversation, or, and this is the one I think people don't think about, or whether it's a course. A lot of people are like, oh, they're in the course, I just go throw my content around, whatever it is. That's like the most important time. All you did was convince them to give you money. You haven't actually convinced them to listen to you and follow anything.
Right.
So how you organize the content in your course matters as well. All right, so that's like the summary of the framework. What was your question again?
Well, I guess like step one, like, okay, you've got all of these pieces here, the speaking, the Facebook, the blogs, all that stuff, right? I mean, and I know that every business is different, so their content within that system is going to be much different. But what are some similarities that you find in, like, what do you do first when a business walks in and they're like, here's what we're doing for outreach, what do we do next? Yeah,
so first thing is no orphaned content.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is, remember what we talked about at the beginning, the very first thing is find a problem.
Right.
You got to be really, really clear. So the very first thing for me, any business I come into, the very first question is, cool, what problem are you solving? Are you familiar with Clayton Christensen's The Jobs to Be Done framework?
Yes.
Okay, so like what job are people hiring your end product to do?
Right.
And then all content, you have to be able to align all of your content to that. So I see a lot of people are like, yeah, I'm doing this thing over here. I'm like, that doesn't have, like, that's a big jump to get somebody to go from that piece of content to they're going to buy this thing over here. So what I want to look at first with all the content, as far as I decide what am I going to create, is I want to start with what's the problem that's being solved, and I ought to be able to like show the hierarchy of where does this piece of content fit into taking somebody from where they are now and then getting them to actually buy my product or service to solve the problem, whichever problem it is that they're buying it to solve.
Gotcha.
So the first thing is they got to have like an organizational strategy around like, why are you even creating this content? And a lot of times it's going to be broken up into stages. So if we just take like, I think there'll be 5. Well, I reserve the right to have it be a different number because I'm going off of memory. But you've got your advertising stuff where you're going to create content. Yeah. Then you have what you're doing with leads. And leads are people that have like you have their contact information, but they're not at the point where they're like, hey, I might buy something from you. Then you have prospects. Prospects are like, I might buy from you. Then you have your clients. So we got advertising, leads, prospects, clients. And then down here we have this bucket called try and get them back. Re-engagement, right? They fell out, they didn't convert. Yeah. So those are the 5 spots that we would look at. And the first question is, like I always start at the very end. So I got a product. Have I built and architected the product with content in a way that it's actually going to produce the outcome that I want? So you mentioned we were talking before about courses.
Right.
In a course, when I'm looking at the content of a course, what I want to look at is, okay, how can I organize your content to actually produce the outcome that I want? Because the best content that I can get, by the way, is somebody went through the course and then like, oh my gosh, this is the most amazing thing ever. Boom, content that goes on right back to the very front, right? So I like to start at the very end and make sure I get that dialed, because that's going to feed me the most important content in the world, which is all of the client stories that I'm going to get. And I want to make sure it's directly tied to what problem are we trying to solve.
You're saying that at the very end of obviously like the content that you're giving as your product needs to be able to be effective enough to generate testimonials, client stories, things like that. What else would you say that content needs to deliver?
On the product side?
Yeah.
So I think the content serves a couple of purposes. There's experience and then there's value. So some of that content is going to be the value. Like I bought a course on how to change the oil in my car because I don't know how to do that. I mean, I know how to go pay for somebody else to do it, but I don't know how to do it myself. Yeah. So let's say I bought a course on how to do that. Well, part of the course is going to be the valuable piece is like I'm going to show you how to go do it.
Yeah.
Most of the time people can figure that out. What they miss is the experience side. And the experience side has a couple of elements, and probably the most important one is just because I paid you money for your course doesn't mean I'm actually going to go do anything. And I'm using a really poor example with changing the oil in your car because most of the time these courses are like, I'm going to help you actually solve a major problem. Yeah. The thing is most people don't actually do what's in the course, and the reason why is because the course creator, when they went and put it together, all they focused on was the content of here's how to go do it. They didn't consider the fact that you've got to repump the people up and get them excited. You got to change their mental state, even after they gave you money, to get them excited to start going through your course and then to continue going through your course. So what I look at when I look at courses is one, like just very specifically, your welcome module, in my opinion, is the most important module in the entire program. And the job and it's the one that gets skipped the most. And the reason why it gets skipped the most is because most people suck at doing welcome modules. So the welcome module typically is, hey, welcome, and I'm going to go on this big, long diatribe about myself and all these things. Like nobody cares.
Right.
You know what they care about? Here's what they care about. The very first thing they care about is, how do I get the most out of this? That ought to be the very first video. And like every single course that I do, it goes like this. Really excited to have you here. My name is Brad. I'm excited to be your host as we go through this course. I want to start by answering the question I get asked the most, which is, how do I get the most out of this thing? Now, that's actually just code for a video that says, I am now going to give you 5 or 6 principles that if you adopt, it will have you get out of your own way. So I'm going to go attack your mindset. And I'm going to call out, look, if you do this, you'll have success. If you do this, you'll have success. I'm preparing them for what they're about to get into so that when those hurdles come up, I've already talked about it and I'm getting them ready.
Yeah.
And then the second thing I do is I give them like an overview. So just like I did with this, like, let me give you a framework of what we're talking about here. I'll start and say, so let me tell you how this whole thing works and why it matters. I'm reselling them on why it matters right after I just got, like I literally went and directly attacked their mindset so that they don't, I mean, every human being has like a baller side and a slacker side. We all do. And I want to establish like your slacker side is not welcome here. Your baller side is. So that's the very first video. And then in every module, I'm constantly reminding them, I'm referring back to those 5 or 6 core principles of how to get the most, which again is just code for, I know what you might do as a slacker human that will undermine your own success. So I refer back to those in all the pieces of content. And then the second thing I do is I never deliver a piece of content without it being in a context sandwich, which just means there's an organization to all of the information you're sharing. So I start every module with, okay, now remember, in this module we're talking about this, and here's where it fits in the overall puzzle so that they always, it's like a mall map. Yeah. You're here, here's the whole mall. Oh, and don't forget, I told you, if you don't actually do this, you won't get any results. And when it starts to get hard, and if you quit when it gets hard, you're not going to get any results. Like I'm just pointing back to the principles that I'm helping people remember that will have them be successful.
That's amazing. So it's more than just the hold your hand and walk you through it. It's way more than that.
No, that's actually I mean, let's look at it this way. If you have the opportunity to buy from 2 people and one of them, you know that they're really, really good at what they do, but you know that the experience is going to be subpar or crappy.
Yeah.
And you have somebody else who is decent at what they do, but their experience is phenomenal. Like, who's going to win? And actually, better said is, if you experience both of those, which one are you going to be more excited about afterwards?
Right.
The one that had a better experience. Now, I'm not suggesting that you decrease the value and increase the experience. I'm suggesting you do both.
Right.
So, assuming you're good, but add the experience element to it. So, like on the course side, when we talk about content, I think the piece, and if we draw it out as how that. So, let me back up. It's tripping over words a little bit. When we look at the course side, this idea of experience and considering what the other person has to go through and what might get in the way for them accepting the content is a really important principle. And it doesn't just apply in the courses, it applies everywhere else. And I think a lot of people are like, oh, I got content, it's really, really good. And what they forget is, like, I can have the best, like, you can bring me the best piece of like lemon cheesecake that there is. I don't like cheesecake, I don't like lemon. So you're gonna have to do some work on me first before I can go consume that particular thing. So the key is whether it's your content out here that's on the ad side, whether it's your lead, like your free reports, whatever it is, you want to be considering, I'm about to deliver this content to somebody, what do I need to do to prepare them to receive it so that they're way more likely to actually take action?
Gotcha. Wow. All right.
I just had this conversation with my daughter last night.
What piece of content is she?
I don't want to get on too much of a tangent, but they dance competitively.
Right.
They're really good. They travel all over the place. They'll be in San Fran like in 2 weeks or whatever. And there's a dance team at school that is not as competitive, not as good as, like, she goes to a studio. It's different. Yeah. It's a different thing. But she sort of felt like she had to do it, and she was going back and forth, and I just sat her down. I'm like, listen, like, you don't have to. If you don't want to, just decide not to do it. But then you got to go tell people. And when you go tell people, like, she's very like dry humor and very short and succinct. And so she's like, yeah, I told this person, I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to do Moveo or whatever it is. I'm like, She was talking, I think, either to her dance teacher or someone, like, something you might consider.
Just a pointer.
You might consider is you're going to deliver a message to that person. And the way that they respond will have everything to do with how well you prepare them for that. So it might look something, rather than just, I'm not going to do Moveo, it might look something like, okay, so look, I've been thinking about it a lot. And I'm looking at, like, all the things that I'm committed to. And I'm really trying to get clear, like, do I really want that or not want that? And as I look at it, I think I'll just be happier and I'll have more free time. I can focus more on everything else in my life if I just don't do Moveo, so I decided not to do it. Like, just notice the difference in how it's received, right?
Right.
And so I mean, it's a story about my daughter, so thank you for humoring me. But the point is, in business, it's the same thing. Like, my brain is constantly chewing through, okay, how do I tee this up? The reason why I went through this hierarchical overview is because I'm like, if you're watching and we just start talking about content and you have no framework, it's not going to make nearly as much sense to you or have nearly as much value. So how do you prepare the person that's about to receive what you're delivering so that they're more likely to receive it? Because if they're more likely to receive it, they're more likely to take action. So I want to be thinking, what can I do to prepare them for what's about to come?
And that's every piece of content.
Every single piece of content.
I think that people they think that, okay, if somebody's opted into something that I'm going to deliver to them, that they think that the job is done on preparing them. You know?
No, if they opted in, the job's done. Now I just have to deliver it. If they bought, the job's done. I just have to deliver it.
Right.
If they schedule a sales phone call, or they got on a webinar, I just have to get up and deliver the webinar. No, like no is the summary. I was gonna make a bunch of things, but the answer is no. It's like you have, all you've done is you have earned the opportunity to make a difference.
Yeah.
And you can either just show up and cross your fingers and hope things work. By the way, the people that do that are the same people that are like, man, my lead magnet doesn't convert. Or I got people that don't show up on my sales calls, or I have these sales calls I don't like, or why aren't people finishing my courses? Like, well, the question is what can you do to increase the likelihood that they'll be open and receptive to receiving the content and then actually go consume it. So that's a more general principle that applies across any content. I would just say, like, as you just add it into your thought process and logic, which is, okay, I'm going to go deliver this. What can I add at the very beginning that prepares them for, hey, here's what you're going to see, and here's what matters. Because most people cannot see what you are trying to get them to see unless you actually point it out specifically. So
even when you think it's that obvious.
Yeah, what it would look like for me is you're going to send this whole interview out.
Yeah.
And if it were me, I would have like a 15-second clip on the front that's like, hey, look, so I sat down with Brad, and here's what we talked about. And what I think will be really cool is if you pay attention at like 12 minutes and 37 seconds, we talk about this, and here's how it applies. And if you're in this kind of business, you really want to look at this. And now what you've done is you've raised their awareness to specific spots in the content, and you've also created that they're going to be more likely to go consume. Like, you kind of tee it up for them.
Yeah.
And that could happen in the email or whatever, but it's in the teeing up and preparing of the content. So, yeah.
Awesome.
What else?
What else? Okay, so you were moving backwards from what we're delivering, right? So what's the next step? Do you continue going backwards from there, or what? I know that's where you start.
Yeah. So we've got, okay, they bought a thing, and if it's a service, like we do services, it's like, what content do I, like, how can I leverage content and deliver? Like, we got people here for 2 days right now. How can I deliver content leading up to somebody coming out for a service or a project? It doesn't have to be in person, it could be remote. But how do I deliver content so that they're ready? That they're more prepared for what we're about to go do.
Yeah.
Like, for example, you come out and you do interviews. And there could be like, okay, booked an interview. I'm going to send this so that I can tell Brad to be ready and know exactly what it is that he needs to be ready around. So he's better prepared and more comfortable. Like, I'm pretty comfortable on camera. My guess is you've interviewed some people that are maybe less comfortable on camera.
Yes.
Right? So there's like a, what can you send that's just, this happens automatically that prepares them. So that's still after they bought, but there's leveraging content to prepare. Going back from that, now what I'm looking at is I'm looking at the people that I'm about to sell. So we've got sales conversation. Almost everybody that buys from us is either buying, they either see me on stage, and even then we send them to a conversation, or they're buying after a sales conversation over the phone. So the question then is, okay, how do I architect that sales conversation? What content do I need? And then also, what content can I put in front of it? They schedule and request a time to meet with us. What content can I send to prepare them so that they're more likely and they're better prepared to actually have a real, genuine sales conversation? You do any sales conversations?
Yes.
You ever had one where like you showed up and 30 seconds in you're like, I should not be on a phone call with this
Yes.
person? Or you ever had one where you showed up and it's like you're 15, 20 minutes in, you're saying the same thing you said on the other 30 phone calls that you had because you're repeating yourself, and you're like, oh, there's no way we're gonna get this done in less than like 3 hours because you're not even speaking the same language.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so how do I take content and prepare? All it is it's just a lack of preparation.
Right.
You know what you want to talk about. Yeah. They don't. It's because you do this all day long and they don't. So how do I leverage my content to better prepare somebody for that sales conversation, whether it's on a webinar, whether it's one-on-one, over the phone, or in person? It's how do I leverage content and use content to actually prepare people for that conversation? So when I get on, like, what if it was like I got on like, oh yeah, I already know all about you. Like we're just reiterating the details of like where you were born or where you grew up or what the call's about. Like you've already anchored that using content so that when you get on the call, it's not like, all right, let's start from scratch every single call, right?
Right, right.
So that's another place to use content. So I go look at how are you selling people into this, and let's go look at that content and let's see how we can better architect it, better structure it to better prepare people to get into whatever the product or service is.
Is there a sweet spot on how many touch points from booking a sales call to getting to that call?
I mean, I was going to say no, but the reality is yes, there is. I mean, because you're probably not going to schedule a call for more than like a week out or something.
Right. Yeah.
So if you're talking a week out max, you've got an immediate confirmation that'll be like, hey, go check these things out. And then you've got a day of follow-up that'll happen. And then depending on how far out they are, there's probably 1 or 2 more. It's probably 3 or 4.
Okay.
And again, I got 3 to 4 chances to get a hold of this person before I actually get on with this person and deliver to them information that then I don't have to repeat, right? I can just be like, hey, so remember, if you watch the video, and then you can track and see if they watch the video, and if not, depending on how hardcore you are, if not, you're like, I am not getting on a phone call with you.
Yeah.
Because if you don't care enough about what we're talking about, which by the way is going to solve a problem for you, but if you don't care enough about what we're talking about to go watch some prep stuff so that our time is valuable, then why would I care about it?
Right.
So I'd say that's probably 3 to 4.
Okay.
It makes sense as a general rule of thumb.
It's so funny because as you're talking, my gears are turning about like how we're going to start implementing all. It's because you talking about it, I'm like, that's so obvious.
Yeah.
But it's not something that's obvious to us. It's like kind of when I talk about like certain repurposing stuff, I'm like, well, obviously, but it's not to everybody else. It's crazy.
Yeah. What I found is there are certain true principles, and those true principles are obvious when you hear them. Like, oh, how did I not think of that?
Right. Well, that's how I feel sitting here right now.
Because somebody else spent all of their life going through and figuring out the nuances to get to like that point of clarity. Like, that's why we all specialize in the things that we specialize in. If we flipped it around, you're like, I'm going to start talking about the stuff that I do. I'd be like, holy crap, that makes a whole lot of sense. Why didn't I think of that? Well, it's because I was thinking about the thing that I do all day long every day. So,
have you ever gotten to a point where like you feel like the things that you're saying, like you, and probably not now because you speak on a lot of stages, but like I sometimes feel like I'm super redundant and that people are sick of hearing what it is that I'm talking about, but you're talking to new audiences. So I have to remind myself that like, these people haven't heard this yet.
You can't get bored.
Right.
And then I have to remind myself too, like there's a whole other generation that's coming in. Like the people that know it, like it recycles, like we're just going to be relearning the same things. Like every generation has to relearn a lot of the same lessons over and over again. It's like, just don't get bored.
It's crazy. I feel like a broken record sometimes, but ultimately it's helping people. So So, okay.
So if we go backwards a little bit more, so you've got the whole goal of the sales environment is to break down everything to get somebody to buy. And then if we go backwards, I've got leads that are coming in, and my lead magnet and my free report, the whole point of that is to break down any barriers to get somebody to want to get on a phone conversation. Yeah. And then I think the really interesting one, or the really powerful one, is this idea of the re-engagement and this long-term follow-up. Because if you have people that request a free report, you send them some follow-ups, but they don't convert to a sales conversation, they drop out. Yeah. What are you doing with those people? If you have a sales conversation with someone they don't buy, they fall out. What's happening to those people? You have someone that bought your first product, and then they didn't buy anything else, and they drop out. You got this, like, you paid money, you spent time and energy on them, and for the most part, it's just people that weren't ready yet.
Right.
So the question is, what are you going to do with those people? Yeah. Where do they go? And in re-engagement, what I found, and this goes directly back to content, what I found is, like, if you're going to get somebody to hire you to do some work, there's probably 3 or 4 or 5 like primary reasons why somebody would sign up with you, and they're different. So, for example, like we had a client that was they sold the prepackaged meals that they would send home to you. They would mail to your house and you can just eat them. Yeah. People would buy that for convenience. So you have some people like, oh, I'm buying it because I want to make my own food. You've got people that are buying for like health. They want healthier food. And then you've got people that are, I'm trying to remember what the third one is, but there are three different primary reasons, and their ads usually are all around one reason. So if they don't buy for that, you've got an opportunity to create content around the other 2 or the other 3. And so you've got this re-engagement, these, I like to call them minions, but you got these minions going out and be like, hey, you didn't buy for reason A, let me tell you about reason B, and I'm still providing value. So I've got this whole system where I bring people in with content. I got my first attempt and I captured a lead. How do I get them to convert to a sales conversation? If not, they drop down here and I've got this re-engagement that says, cool, well, let me try a different angle. And I'll see if I can get them interested. And if they don't respond, all right, let me try a different angle. And when you do it right, like you can have 90 to 180 to like a year's worth of follow-up that's just happening, providing value. It's all just running automatically. It's the world that I live in, but it's all running automatically, but it's providing value on different topics. And all of those topics, they're not orphaned, right? So they all tie back to the same reason why the person came to you in the first place. So you create this vacuum where you stop losing people. They're having a better experience. They're getting better educated. They're getting more value. And ultimately, it's going to end up in you making more money.
Yeah, I'm nerding out on the 3 things that they would. Oh man, I'm so excited. All right, so that basically, the well of people who are already, hey, they've engaged in some capacity. Like that's a valuable group of people. Yep. Am I wrong? Like, yep. How do you? What conversion rates do you usually see with that well of people? I mean, obviously that's kind of a loaded question, but
it is, and I'll give you the answer I give everybody, which is like I don't answer that question.
Okay.
I mean, because they're all over the place.
Right.
The point is, here's what I know. What I know is the majority of people that you capture as leads are not ready to do business today. And the majority of people sell to the people that are ready to do business today. So they're pumping content, they're pumping sales, pumping advertising dollars. They create people to talk with. They close down the people that are ready today, and other people fall out. And then they spend money to go get that person to come back around again when they already paid for them. So the idea of this re-engagement is like, I don't know, but I know that there's more people that go into that bucket that are still interested and will buy most likely in the next 90 days or so, 90 to 180 days, that will still buy, but I don't have anything in place to actually stay in touch with them. Like, well, I didn't buy today, and all I got to do is I got my calendar, I just got to call people. So when you can leverage your content and in a lot of cases, just repurpose the content you're putting out here, you repurpose it, but you add some automation. Now that I have your info, I don't have to wait for you to go find my Facebook page to find my content. I can actually just put you through a system that says, hey, you got to go check this thing out, or go check this thing out, or go check this thing out. And that's one of the pieces that most people don't have in place. And it's like a travesty for someone that does content, because the biggest reason why you wouldn't is because like, well, I don't have all that content, which is also a farce. It's a whole separate conversation because you can just go get it. But if you have the content, it's like a catch-all that says, I'm going to catch all the people that I already paid money to get, and then I'm going to repurpose all of my content to get them to come back around and eventually give me money.
Yeah. And one misconception is that people think their existing content is just old news. And it's like, that can be new.
It's just like you sound, it's like,
right.
It's in Spanish, you can put your adjective for a word either before or after, it means different things.
Yeah.
In one case, it means that it's a new thing, like I just bought this from the store today. And in the other case, it means it's new to me. And so, like, the content may not be new to the business, but it's new to me when you introduce it to me, right? It's a whole new thing.
That's a great analogy. I love that.
So you got to not forget that, because that's where people get bored. Is like, oh, well, I've said this over and over again. Everybody's bored. No, you said it one time to everybody,
right?
But you said it to 100 people, so you've heard it 100 times, but everybody else has only heard it one time,
right?
So You'll be all right. And by the way, believe it or not, even if you said it 10 times to one person, they don't know what you're saying. They have not got it all.
Yeah.
Like I could do this exact same conversation with somebody 15 times and then come back like, oh, you mean I could do this? Like, bro, I've been saying that.
Yeah.
So it's just something to remember in terms of content. It's like people will gather something different every time because they are changing in their experiences. And what they gather is based on them more than it is based on what you actually produce in the content.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've made it all the way almost back to the very front end, right?
Yep.
We dove into that piece. Is there any overlying arc? I mean, obviously, most of what you're saying touches on all the types of content that we talked about, but is there anything that you feel like you haven't touched on?
The only thing I would add is that when we get into the lead world and then in the advertising world, is I've found more success when I create that stuff like I could charge for it.
Yeah.
So I just have a different level of commitment to quality in terms of what I'm creating. So for me, whenever I'm creating content, and you got to be careful because obviously you don't want to give away what you're selling. You got to keep an economic engine right in place. But I like to create the content and I like to create it. I'm always trying to think of, so two thoughts. One, I want the value to be such that like I would be comfortable charging for it. Like, and even if it's like I could charge $100 for this or $200 for it, like legitimately, the amount of time it's going to save you from having to go do all the research you have to do just to learn this thing, I'd be totally happy charging money for it. And then I don't, because then I know I've got good quality content. It's not this thing that I just hired a ghostwriter to write in like 15 minutes and I'm going to be like, oh, it's content. So that's one. And then I talked too long on that. I'm trying to remember the second one because the second one's important. Okay, so make sure your content is, okay. And the second thing is in all of your content, don't forget this idea of intrigue optimization. So I came up with this term. You want to intrigue optimize your content.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is when you deliver the content, you have to be paying attention to their awareness at all times. Like, are they intrigued by this? Because a lot of times people have really good content and they deliver it in a way that it sounds just horribly boring. Right? It's like, okay, and then there's this and this and this. So intrigue optimization for me is actually looking at what I'm about to go say, what I'm about to go deliver, and asking the question, okay, am I going to deliver this in a way that's going to turn them off?
Right.
Or am I going to deliver this in a way that increases their excitement about the content? So like I can deliver things in a way that have you be like, oh, that's dope. Or I can deliver in a way where it's like, I've heard that before.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure you intrigue optimize your content. And that is something you do afterwards. So you create all the content, then you come back around and say, okay, now how do I deliver this in a way that people will be like, oh, got it.
Okay, so then the last question that I ask everybody is, what is something, because I mean, there's so much here, like this is fully loaded. I'm super pumped about it. But what is one thing, like out of all the things you've talked about, or even something completely separate, that somebody watching or listening can do in the next 48 hours without a team of like 15 people that will make a difference in their clients or like their lead journey?
Okay, so here's what I would do. Step one is identify which piece of content, so we've kind of talked about the whole business, right? So identify which piece of content you believe is like the most impactful and critical piece in your business. So for some people, it'd be like, oh, the course. If I could get that thing dialed, then it's great. Other people might be, oh, there's something in my sales conversations, or there's a lead thing, or there's my front-end content. Identify which piece of content has the biggest is the biggest lever that you can pull.
Yeah.
So pick that first, because we want to start where you can have the biggest impact. And then the second thing that I would do is with that piece of content, I would look at it through the lens of two things: value and experience. So have I actually done anything to prepare the person that's going to receive this piece of content so that they're more likely to receive it? And then the second thing I would do is look at it through the lens of intrigue optimization. Does this sound like everybody else that's trying to say this? Or have I created a unique spin that will be like, oh, I never thought of that. Like I never thought of it that way before. So I think from a content standpoint, I would say what's the most impactful, and then two things. One, how do I modify it slightly so that I'm better preparing the person to receive it, that they're more likely, they're going to be in a better position to actually receive it. And then part of that would be, have I intrigue optimized it? How do I make it so that it's unique and it doesn't sound like what everybody else is saying? And if you do that with the most impactful piece of content in your business, you're going to see an immediate result. Because it's where you got most of the people coming through, and you're going to upgrade it, which means you're going to get an upgraded result. That's what I would do in the next 48 hours. And then, by the way, the next 48 hours after that, just pick the next most important piece of content, do the exact same thing again.
Yeah, you got a couple weeks ahead of you at least.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay, so if people watching this are like, yeah, that's all awesome, and everything that you said is great, we want to see you in action, how are they going to see your stuff?
Go to SixthDivision.com. We're on Facebook as well. Anyway, go to SixthDivision.com. There's stuff on there. There's content on there. You can reach out to us. And then Facebook, we got stuff on there as well.
Yeah, and opt into whatever they got going and see the magic happen.
There you go.
Right on. Thank you so much, Brad. This is
you're welcome.
awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, see ya.
Thank you so much for checking out this episode of the Content Coalition. Now, whether you're listening or watching, make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel and to whatever platform you're listening to it on, because you're not going to want to miss out on the incredible things that I'm learning with these amazing content marketing pros. So make sure you subscribe, and we will talk to you next week.